Hey guys, it's Jamie here to do my skills blog. I received the organizational chart from the hospital where I work, and it's definitely in the form of a vertical organizational chart because it's shaped like a pyramid with a hierarchy kind of system. Each manager reports to a specific person. And then that manager also has someone or a group of people or someone that they're in charge of. So it kind of goes down into a pyramid. It's a hierarchy arrangement with written policies and procedures. I think most hospitals have those. And everyone kind of knows their specific role and the tasks that they are expected to perform. Usually vertical organizations are used in hospitals. I think that's pretty standard because there's so many different departments and a lot of diversity, a lot of different groups of people doing different things. So I think it just works best that way. Plus it kind of gives everyone a specific superior to go to. The organization where I work is also in the matrix organization because it does have groups of people that consist, that make up different departments. Examples of that would be the different units, of course, ICU, surgical ICU, med-surg, then you've got the laboratory, pharmacy, all that different stuff. All of these departments kind of have the same goal though, which is to provide great care for the patients, to have good patient outcomes. So that's the whole idea of the matrix, is, just different groups of people kind of working together. And that can be in either the vertical or horizontal. In my case, it's in the vertical form. So, let's see. I know this is kind of in the later part of the blog, but I just want to go ahead and say that I do prefer the vertical organization. It's the only structure I've ever worked in. It seems to work really well in the hospital, which is where I work now and intend to work. Everyone really knows their goal. Of course, us as nurses on our specific units know exactly what we're expected to do. Usually our manager is kind of on the floor and available to us. We know exactly who to go to, who to report to. Also like matrix organizations, again, I think that's typical in the hospital. You basically work in teams and you all share a common goal, which I kind of discussed is usually good patient outcomes, patient satisfaction. In the hospital, it includes, like I said, the different units and departments kind of working together. So it's an interdisciplinary effort. I think that system is most effective in the hospital. I think it's, like I said, the only way I've ever seen it work. So to me, it's kind of what I prefer at this point. The care model I selected is just basically made up of all the different components that come together to make the hospital function. Just to highlight some of these, patient outcomes, resources, the care delivery that nurses and other interdisciplinary teams provide, leadership, teamwork. So it basically is the organizational structure that, the organizational structure uses the care model to deliver like the best care that they can. So, if I were a manager, which is kind of hard for me to imagine at this point, I think I have a long way to go. But if I was a leader in the organization where I work, I would make it a goal to ensure that the work on my unit was getting done efficiently with my efforts and then the efforts of my staff. I'd have to be capable of determining what the unit goals were and obviously to provide great care to the patients, but more specific goals would need to be identified as well, such as, preventing falls or decreasing falls, decreasing our readmission rates, decreasing people getting discharged without their flu and pneumonia vaccines, things like that. So I would have to kind of come up with those goals with the team. I'd be responsible for developing plans to reach the goals with the staff, gathering the necessary resources, make sure everyone has what they need, make sure the unit is staffed appropriately, relaying the goals to the staff, getting them involved, getting them motivated, and then making sure and evaluating that the plans were carried out. So I hope I would function as a participative manager because, our textbook and everything says that it has the best outcomes, the highest staff satisfaction rates, the highest nurse retention rates, which is just pretty much self-explanatory. The more you include people's opinions and their input, the more they're going to feel valued and want to hang around. So, I would need to be present and very involved in the unit, which is an aspect of the participative manager. I would have to allow my employees to practice autonomy and kind of come to me when they needed me. I think that would instill confidence in them, and obviously consider their opinions. Make sure that they felt that the unit was appropriately staffed, that they had the amount of resources that they need, and just listen to what they think could be improved and kind of make steps to do those things. So the leadership questionnaire that I went over myself, I received a 22, which is the high range, the lower end of the high range in administrative skills, a 23 in interpersonal skills, and a 21 in conceptual skills. So I definitely would have some work to do. Skills that I think I would need to secure to make sure that I had the resources such as staff and all the other resources I need was I definitely need to improve in planning. This would help me to manage the use of time, activities, and resources efficiently. It also would keep us focused on our objectives, prevent any conflict or as much as possible, and keep the budget in line. I'm not really good at that, kind of allocating resources. I really actually don't know anything about that, so that would take some research. Also staffing, I've never really participated in staffing, any aspect of it, so I would need to improve on that. That would help me to decide, how many nurses are required to provide safe care, and to make sure that they're happy, and to ensure that we're having positive outcomes on our unit. Another skill would be directing. I've never been in a leadership role, so I don't have a lot of experience being assertive and kind of directing people in an efficient way. So I'd need to improve in that, giving directions in a clear, concise way, making sure I'm consistent, keeping people motivated. So that's kind of the 3 areas I would probably need to focus on. According to the leadership questionnaire, I basically saw that I need improvement in problem solving, immediately addressing problems, especially when it comes to people I work with. I tend to kind of let things be swept under the rug, so obviously I wouldn't be able to do that anymore. I would need some improvement in seeing the bigger picture, making strategic plans, discussing organizational values and philosophy. Those are things I tend not to get involved. I kind of just focus more on my patients and not as much the overall picture. I mean, I'm definitely a team player and I definitely help out staff members, but I don't really get involved in the philosophy and the resources and all that kind of stuff. So I would need a lot more experience and education in those areas. So let's see. The article that I found was on interprofessional collaboration. It was called Interprofessional Collaboration, What is Taking So Long? It talks about the recent changes in healthcare, and how in order to achieve positive patient outcomes and continue to decrease our cost, all the groups need to work together, all the interdisciplinary groups. We need to have good communication, mutual respect, and collaboration between all healthcare providers. Studies show that there's still some issues between MDs, especially, and nurses. It's kind of looked at as 2 independent careers that work parallel. They don't really work that well together. I think we've all probably experienced that in our practice. So it's all about, how to get the mutual trust and respect, and how to more work as a team with all areas, including NAs and nurses, and not feel like there's a superior and inferior position, to kind of see it as more of a team effort. So the way I would kind of use this in my practice, if I were a leader, I would encourage the teamwork view. One thing we've started doing where I work now is we round with the doctors every day. They tell us what's going on with the patient before we go in. They ask for our opinion, get our input, and then we go in with the patient. It makes it a lot easier. You know a lot more about what's happening, with your patient. Also, something we've started to do, and I would implement this even more, this isn't mandatory, but the NAs get report with us in the morning, so they really have a good idea of everything that's going on with the patient, and it just makes it more of a team effort. The 3 departments I would need to work with as a manager are definitely the chief nursing officer. If I were the manager at my facility, that would be who I would report to. She would be my one superior, so I would definitely have to work with her. I would also have to work with the physicians. Like I said, I would try to implement this transdisciplinary effort and come up with ways to get nurses and doctors on the same page, better communication, because I think that's so important and unfortunately is lacking in most facilities. And then the third would be the emergency room. That's where we get the majority of our admissions. There's a little bit of a gap between our nurses and the ED, not great communication. Even if we could implement some bedside reporting, which I know isn't always realistic in the emergency room, but just things like that to kind of get it more of a team effort. So those are the 3 areas. Let me see if I'm forgetting anything. I think that's pretty much it. I already kind of said that I prefer the vertical structure, and why. I think it just works best. I think it's easiest in the hospital in a fast-paced environment to kind of know who your superior is, see them on the floor, have them with you, and then everyone kind of knows their role, and you can still work as different teams. Alright guys, thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Bye.